here for our second to last workshop of the day. You have food at home, how to stop buying shit you don't need. And I think that I couldn't think of a better person to teach this but myself because I am a huge hypocrite as I'm sitting here with my Starbucks cup that I absolutely didn't need because I have the exact same tea at home. Um, so I'm coming for y'all next. I'm telling you, listen, I am the person who goes to Target and lets Target tell me what I need. I go through all the aisles, and I think it's been only a month that I went to Target for one thing and left Target with one thing. And I was so proud of myself because I have been employing these lessons that I'm about to share with, and me and my therapist have been employing these lessons that I am about to regurgitate and share with you all. So like I said, I go to Target. I will have food. I will have a fully stocked refrigerator. I will have a fully stocked fridge, a freezer. Life will be good in my house. And I will still pull up to good old Chipotle or good old Chick-fil-A because,
Treat yourself.
because it feels good. And so I want to say that the first thing in order to stop buying things that you don't need or having, less money a month before we even get into the tips is a strong why. Introspection is important. I noticed and I discovered this in therapy, and therapy is important to me, that um, I was spending money because it was like an act of self care for myself. Like, oh, you have this business, you have this kid, blah, blah, blah. You don't want to go home and have to do more work. Isn't it nice when somebody just does something nice for yourself? When somebody does something nice for you, even if you have to pay for it. And so that would be one of the reasons why I would always go out to eat for convenience. I would always go out to eat because I like to treat myself. And so that was like my version, supporting the economy, like figuring out why do you not want to be at home? Why do you feel like you need all of these things? Do you not know what you have at your house? The second thing after determining, your emotional why is going through your house and doing a deep dive. So that's number two. The one thing that I do when it's time for me to go and buy shoes or I want to like take myself on a shopping spree is I go through my closet and I look at all the shoes, I pull them out and I rearrange them and I reorganize them. And if I have not worn them, then I put them in a pile to donate or to sell. Clothes, I will put every single piece of clothes item on my body um, to hold on one second. Somebody is having a hard time joining this link. Um, I will put every single piece of item on and I will um, see if it fits. How do I feel in this item? How do I feel in this clothes? How do I feel? When it's time to go grocery shopping, I will go through, and Carmen does this, go through my refrigerator, go through my cabinets, and write what I have and what I can make creatively without buying new things first. Um,
It's like the chopped picnic basket.
Yeah, because inventory is important because a lot of people will feel like they don't have a lot of a lot of people will feel like they don't have things, right? I can look at my house and say, "Man, I don't have anything in my house." But when I start pulling things out of closets and pulling things out of drawers and pulling things out of um, you know, uh under my bed or whatever, or pulling things out of my garage, I find that I have a slew of things that one, I don't use, and two, I don't need. And um, and so that is what is that? The second thing, taking inventory over what you have and what you don't have. Also, affirmations. Affirmations is I have enough. Why are you consistently thinking that you need to spend all this money? Is it because when you were little, is it a childhood trauma? When you were little, were you not able to go out to eat? When you were little, were you not able to get the toys and the things that you want? And so now you wanna, pop tags all the time and buy steak on Tuesday because it was something that was, deprived from you as a child. Like, figuring out what the root issue is, um, and then actively taking steps to correct that. Also, um, what defining need versus want, and before we open up the dialogue, defining need versus want. What do you need? What is it that you need? I need eggs. Or, right, we're going to get to deals. We're going to get to deals in just a second. Do I need this or do I want it? Right? And you have to define that for yourself. Here's a couple of tips that I really love. The questions that you should ask yourself. If it was full price, would I buy it? So that's one. Am I going to use this exactly? Am I going to use fill in the blank immediately? I always buy stuff, and like I'll buy art or decor and stuff like that, and it'll sit in my closet for months because I have a plan that I'm going to do it. Am I going to do it as soon as I get home? Am I going to do or use that item? If the answer is no, then I don't need it. Another trick is I put see, you ain't trying to change. You'll never know until you know. um another another trick is dividing your money. All of your money does not need to be in your checking account. As soon as you get paid, keep enough in your checking account to go allocate towards bills and food, and everything else goes into a separate online savings account. The reason why it's important is that it's online only, is because it takes 24 hours to transfer that money to your account. And I'm pretty sure you are not going to lay out at Walmart, Target, Whole Foods, or wherever you're at, just for that money to come. And most likely, whatever you're buying is an immediate need or an immediate, you want to feel something immediately. And if you leave that store or not have the money or not have the access to buy it, you won't. You won't. God is working on me. Anybody have any like stories they want to share, or tips that they've had?
You saying that, like, which I agree, like, you let Target tell you what you need. And how I sort of combat that is I really don't have a plan when it comes to what I'm making for dinner every night. I used to like do my grocery shopping by having like my white erase board in the kitchen. I'm like, okay, Monday I'm making tacos. Tuesday we're doing, lettuce wraps. Wednesday, and so on. And so that I would buy the exact ingredients that I need. And then I eventually found out that just didn't work for me because I would be like, I don't have time to make this thing. I wouldn't follow through with the plans that I had, and I would end up having food that would go bad. So what I've done instead is buy the ingredients that I know for a fact that I use the most. And I look in my fridge and I let my refrigerator tell me what I am having for dinner that night. And I just slap some shit together sometimes, and it works. And I've learned that like it even helps me be more creative. I make things that I normally wouldn't have made or put together. And especially during this self quarantine and self social distancing, it has really forced me to really look at what I have. And I'm like, I'm not trying to go to the grocery store right now. It's chaotic, it's crazy. And just really making me like, okay, what are we having tonight? And kind of making it fun and getting creative. So,
Yeah, I absolutely love that. I'm glad that you touched on panic buying because right now,
mm-hmm.
where everyone is in this state of like panic buying, right? Like, oh, I have to go get all the food because if they shut down this government, if they shut down, they close these grocery stores, I'm not going to have food. I'm going to give you guys a couple of things to help lessen those fears. One, Americans overspend and overbuy on groceries anyway. I promise. I promise I don't even have to go into your kitchen. And I can promise you that you have food that you can cook and make. It may not be food that you want, but it is food that you can cook and create and make and eat right now without going to buy things. Secondly, um, I'll hold on to it, walk around the store.
I do that too.
Right. Um, Also, calculate cost versus labor. I used to love to say, if I buy this, how many hours of work do I have to work in order to afford this? So if I bought, I don't know, this candle, this candle is 1 hour of work. Is this candle worth 1 hour of work for me? You know? And when I started calculating the cost of something versus the labor or the amount of work that I'm going to have to do, it really it kind of stopped me in my heels, right? Like if I pay for this, am I going to be able to go on this trip that I want to take next year? If I buy this pair of shoes right now, right? If I buy these pair of shoes right now, these 100 pair of shoes, could I take $100, and put it in a savings account for my trip to Toronto this summer? Are those boots worth me not wilding out in Toronto or not having money? Right? And then we've been talking about goals this entire time. What is your money goal for yourself? My money goal is that I want to be able to buy a trip whenever I want. And trips typically cost $1,200. Plus, I need $1,000 in emergency. Plus, I don't ever want my account to go under $1,000. So I need roughly $5,000 in my account at all times. If I buy this Starbucks, is my account going to go under $5,000? Oh, I like that. What do you suggest for someone who is already frugal but can't seem to save money? The first thing that I think anybody should do is track their spending habits. I like to get a handy dandy notebook. I'm trying to find my handy dandy notebook. Um, I get a notebook and I write every single cent that I spend. I go to USA.com or, start SunTrust, whatever you do, and start writing those deductions down. And it's something about putting pen to paper that makes you actually realize that it's money coming out of your account every day. If you buy a pack of gum, write it down. If you buy a shirt, write it down. If auto draft came and took $100 out for Comcast, write it down and do that for a month. I don't want you to save any money. I don't want you to do anything. I don't want you to change your habits. You're naturally going to change your habits because you're going to start being accountable to yourself. And when you start writing down what you're spending, you're going to realize that one, you didn't need to spend it. Two, it was probably some BS. And three, you're probably gonna feel like a little bit of shame. I know I do. And I do this like every 3 months just to like keep myself in check. Write everything down at the end of the month. See how much money you spent on food. How much money did you spend on entertainment? How much money did you spend on this? And are you really that frugal? And or are you paying too much for your cable? Are you paying way too much for your car insurance? Where can you make these cuts at? When you have a game plan, when you can see it laid out on paper, you can start making some real factors in your life. Do I need to get a second job? Because is my is my job not covering my bills, or if I stopped eating out, would I have an extra $500 that month? Or if I stopped, splurging on these, dope teas, would I have an extra, $200 a month? No lie, 100% transparency. I did this. Carmen knows. What was it? I had spent like $1,200 eating out.
And it's probably like little, like a bunch of shit just added up and stuff that it's so under the radar that you don't even realize that you're spending it.
Because for us, we were meeting clients. So I was meeting 4 to 5 clients a day in cafes, and each cafe or each time I had a client, I didn't want them to feel bad, so I would buy a coffee. So that's 4 to 5 coffees a day that I am buying, that I am drinking. That's $25, $30 a day that I'm just, and you don't even realize it because it's just like, oh, that's $5. Oh, that's $5. When you start writing that stuff down, I promise you'll be like, no, I'm fine. I can take water, you know? And most of the time it's eating out. Most of the time it's eating out. And it's because, there's some emotional need that's not being met. You are tired, you're exhausted, you're not planning your meals, you're not freezing your leftovers so you can have them another day. And or you're out and you're socializing and you want to feel, and you want to be in the scene. But those tips, those strategies can definitely help, or at least curve, you not spending a lot of money. Also, the last thing is decluttering. Decluttering your kitchen, decluttering your closet. But I want to talk about decluttering your kitchen for a little bit. There have been studies, and I don't know how like true these studies are, but when you have canned foods or frozen processed foods in your mind, it feels like you don't have food. If you stock your kitchen with fresh fruits and vegetables, things that you can see out on display, it will trick you to think that you have more food even if you have less food, right? So if you have a thing of bananas out and you have oranges and apples out that you can see, you will in your mind say, it will encourage you to cook so it won't go bad, and you see it and therefore you know that it's there. Pull those things out of your closet, put them on display so you know that you have them, so that you don't buy an excessive amount of crap you don't need. Is there anybody else who wants to share any stories before we keep going or move on, or shameless ways that you've wasted money?
I just agree with what you said, how like I stock up on produce because I'm thinking like I have like riced cauliflower that I thought I was going to cook, like just like 4 bags in my freezer that I'm like, it's in my freezer, it's tucked away. I don't even realize that I have it. And I'm buying all this stuff beforehand. But when I have veggie, I'm like, oop, I got to use this squash because it's going to go bad if I don't use it. It sort of puts a sense of urgency. And having my groceries, like either doing the pickup or delivery online so that I'm shopping like at home. I'm not walking around, be like, yeah, I can use this. I could use that like I'm literally like getting exactly what I need without being able to see how the grocery store has strategically placed things, you know, in the front or in the line or things like sort of at the beginning of aisles. So that helps me sort of stay on track.
I love how Lonnie said like she learned how to make broth. You know, really big, money saving tips, DIYing things, learning how to do things, learning how to, stretch a food or an item. Take your shirt, turn it into a scarf, take your skirt, turn it into, taking online shopping makes you more, yes, it is. It makes you more mindful because when you see that cart and that cart is like $250, you also don't feel obligated to buy it because there's no person standing in front of you like face shaming you. Like, what you gonna do, um and then honestly, I would also want to tell people that give yourself some grace. This, you are absolutely allowed to have coffee. You are absolutely allowed to treat yourself out to dinner. And you are absolutely allowed, if this is your lifestyle and you want to eat out every day and you can afford to do that, and you're strategic about the way that you do it, you are absolutely allowed to do that. But you are only allowed to do that if you have done an assessment over how and the whys, right? Over, can I afford to do this? Is this really my lifestyle? How can I do this and still be cost effective to me and still let this, and still not feel completely deprived? I don't know. Does anybody have anything else? I don't, it's kind of quick and to the point. It's like, nope. Oh, I don't hear you anymore. Oh, Brittany, what do you have? You can get off, take yourself off my mute.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey.
Hey.
So yeah, definitely like as a young fresh college student, I definitely have tried to figure out as many ways as possible to save money. And definitely when it comes to cooking, something that I recently learned is when it pertains to like grocery shopping and food, because I think that's the biggest thing for all of us. Like, in today's economy, like we're just so fast paced, so we oftentimes are eating out because for one, we're tired and we don't have as much time. But what I've realized while grocery shopping is the best way to save money and stretch it is to make meals with the same exact, like not the same exact ingredients, but similar ingredients. So like I realized one time, like just buy a whole chicken, and so like maybe you can have like chicken breast in one meal, or like use the leftover chickens for like chicken and broccoli, or like chicken
Stir fry.
alfredo, or yeah, stir fry. So like
Yeah.
yeah, so like spending like $30, and then I really realized is that because I thought that going to the grocery store with like two or three recipes would save money because I know what I'm going there for, but making all of those recipes basically similar, you know.
I almost forgot to tell you guys. I love that you said that because and Carmen knows this, I challenge myself. So I will bring $30 in cash when I go to the grocery store. And that's it. I will leave my wallet at home. I'll take my ID card. Of course, I get pulled over, of course, but I will leave my credit card at home, my debit card at home, and I'll have $30, and that is what I spend for the week. And what I've noticed is that it makes me more strategic about what I need versus what I want. I typically get only the ingredients for the week, and it works. And I have leftovers. Um, and I'll have leftovers. So for example, one of the things that I buy, I'll buy a whole chicken from Aldi. That whole chicken is like $6. I'll buy some frozen vegetables that are like $1.30 a pack. So maybe I'll buy three different types of frozen vegetables. I'll usually buy a starch, whether that's a potato, pasta, or rice. And you'll be amazed at what you can find in your kitchen already, hot sauce, seasonings, broth, and just getting really creative about what it is. And so I will do that even when I go to Target or another store and I'm like, ooh, I want to come in here and buy this pair of pants. I will only bring the amount of money, cash, for that pair of pants. And it has slowed down my spending tremendously. And so I think that's like the last little tip that I can think of, unless all of you guys want to share something, just hop off mute and, sharing as well. Yeah, because you can literally see it moving. Okay, well, we have our absolute final session of our virtual pop-up today at 3 o'clock. It is Miss Sabrina Newby, who is the president of the Coastal Georgia Minority Chamber of Commerce, the only minority chamber of commerce that is an internationally known chamber of commerce. She will be speaking. She is on our advisory board, and she's going to be talking about finding your purpose, developing your purpose, and using your purpose for good. And so I hope to see each and every one of you there. I am about to stop recording, and I will see y'all in a little bit, like 45 minutes. Go get you a sandwich at home and come back. All right.